We're all works in progress. Join me, Jenn Hart, as I wander creator spaces across the U.S. to meet artists, musicians, makers, and creatives of all kinds, to hear their stories and to find out what inspires them. We'll also play a game of 10 questions. Keep track if you like, and we'll count them up at the end. The nice thing is that the only one that can really lose this game by not getting to 10 is me. And we all get to win by meeting some seriously talented people. I can only see good things coming. Alex told a great story about her first memory of making, a special moment that she shared with her mother. She told me moments like these stick with her, but inspiration finds her in all moments, everywhere, all the time. Wow. At first, you might think, that sounds exhausting. But as I mulled over this episode, I was left thinking, what a wise and aware woman. Amazing. And 100% right. For me, color has played a prevalent role in my career, no matter the medium. And when I think of the moments in my life, the stories I repeat most often at dinner parties or drinking coffee with family, my inspiration was there too. It was in the Easter eggs Mom let me arrange in the basket just so after dyeing them, the prints I made on my Barbie drawing table as a kid, the wrapping paper on Christmas morning, the design of my NSYNC posters on the wall, and in the crowd at my first concert, also NSYNC. Dad, you are a man among men for taking me. Just me and him and a sea of screaming 13-year-olds. A story for another time, maybe. As creators, we are defined, propelled, plagued even at times, and empowered by our vision, the way we perceive the world. I am so grateful for Alex's perspective on this. It reminded me to notice again. The next big idea might be sitting next to me on my flight or on the shelf at the grocery store. In those everyday moments that are so easy to take for granted. Coming to you from the Henderson Plaza, outside in the summer Vegas heat. Can't believe we're outside right now. This is our first one doing it outside, but it's been beautiful and lovely so far, so we're very excited. The lovely Miss Alexandra Arrieche is here with me to share her story. And I, for one, am super excited about this one because I've worked with Alex before, and getting to know how she got to where she is and what's led up to everything that she has had happen in her career and that she's making happen is going to be so stellar to learn about. I'm just really excited. She's currently the music director of the Henderson Symphony Orchestra, as well as the principal conductor of the Antwerp Philanthropic in Belgium, and a host of her own podcast, Beethoven Was a Rock Star. I am dying to know, first off, like right off the bat, Alex, thank you for being here.
Of course, my pleasure.
And I'm dying to know how did you get into this profession? Because I had never met a conductor before I knew you. You were like the first conductor I've ever met.
And was a woman.
And a female. Yeah. That's the other part, because you really you kind of broke a class ceiling, really, doing what you're doing. Because you just don't, growing up, I never saw a female orchestra conductor or that profession was just not even on my radar as something that I could do. So tell me, I want to know everything.
Yeah, but you know what? This is not, unfortunately, this is not a rare comment that I get, you know, it's, I think it's much better than 15 years ago when I moved here, considering the amount of women conductors that I have met. But definitely we still have a long way to go. You know, I'm still going to places and being the first woman conductor, and I have friends who are the first women doing things.
Yeah.
And we think that when we think that this issue the being represented in this area is it's we are good on that. Then out of a sudden we found out that there is another first.
Yeah.
So I think that our mission now is like whenever when we still have firsts, our job's not done.
Yeah.
So we still have to be raising awareness of
For
that.
sure.
But answering your question, it was kind of like I'm not gonna say out of the blue, but I grew up in Brazil, and we do not have orchestras there, so therefore
okay.
that wasn't on my radar too.
Yeah.
But I always loved music. I always loved sounds, and I was lucky enough that my family was very musical, even though they were not in the classical music world. They were very musical, and they noticed that that was a passion of mine since the early age. And they found a teacher in town. I grew up in a very small village in Brazil, and there was one piano teacher, and they found that her, and then I started learning piano, and then I moved to São Paulo, and then that was when I realized that the world was bigger than just my piano. And then I started improvising on the piano, and then I had friends who played the flute, the others played the clarinet, the violin, and then I started writing for them as well. And then when I was 16 years old, I wrote for all my friends, and that was a small orchestra.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's so cool.
they needed a conductor, and the only person who knew the music was me, because I was the composer. And then I ended up in front of my friends conducting, and that was my first experience.
Was that kind of like a wow moment for you, where you were like, oh, I really like this?
And it was a wow moment, but yet you grew up in a country where constantly you hear like, this is not, if it's difficult for men, imagine for women. So you better just forget about it.
Try about that. Yeah.
And then it was not until 10 years later that I was around in my mid-20s, that one of my teachers said, listen, you have a talent for that, you have a voice, you should try.
Yay, teacher.
Yes, I know. And then he really supported me, and then he helped me, and then the rest is history. I moved here 2010 to study. I was lucky enough to meet Mary Alsop, which is my mentor, and she was the one. Actually, imagine if for me and my generation is difficult, for her it was even worse. Like, she is the one to conduct.
Start poking holes in that.
And in fact, like, she's gonna perform for the first time with the Berlin Philharmonic this next year, in February.
That's so
which is
exciting.
also like gonna be historical, because Berlin is not really known for getting women on the podium. And yet it's like a very well-known and famous orchestra, right? So
oh my gosh, that's huge.
It is huge.
Did you so when you went to school, did you go to be a conductor, or did you go for music, or what were you studying in school that led
went
you
to Brazil is different. The system, the school system is different than here. Like, when we finish high school there, we don't go. There's no college. We go directly to your bachelor, like to your university.
Okay.
So when I finished school, I went directly to a music program. That was going to be specialized in composition and conducting.
Wow.
And unlike here, that you only have that when you're after your college, or for a master degree or doctorate, you first do an instrument before. In Brazil, you go directly there. So I did. It was 6 years, and I was. You could take 2 more years and do conducting, and I was like, you know what, why not? Let's do conducting and composition.
Let's do it.
And then the end was when I decided that conducting was the
route.
That was the route.
Very cool.
But was a university for composition and conducting.
Okay. Do you also compose still, or how is that part of your kind of brain?
No. You know what? I think about that a lot, but I rather now, like, just give, the voice for those who don't have.
Yeah.
I do have a platform, and I think I'm enough. I'm heard enough. You know? But sometimes, you know, because I worked with the Night of the Proms as well, sometimes I have the feeling that I should come back not for composition but for arrangements, which is something that I really love. But yeah, but I'm still happy with conducting only. Sometimes composition can be a little bit, how can I say, it's a struggle, you know.
The artist struggle.
The artist struggle, and I'm good. Like I'm good with conducting.
Like, I'm enjoying.
There's some struggle there too, so I'm fine with that struggle. That struggle makes me happy.
Well, yeah, right. What do you think the biggest struggle is with conducting? Like, what have you kind of come up against while you're doing that? That's been.
I wouldn't say struggle. I mean, I think that the women thing is a problem. I think that that's the biggest.
Finding the open doors to.
Yeah,
to
finding the open doors is the biggest struggle. But otherwise, you know, I really love what I do. You know, I think the struggle now for me is time. You know, because it's really when you become music director, it's not only about conducting.
Right.
It's not only about guest conducting, moving your arms and your relationship with the orchestra. You are responsible for a bigger part that's usually not taught in the school.
Yeah.
And and sometimes that's really time. Sometimes no, that's really time consuming.
Oh, 100%.
And you have to find your time for your scores, to study your scores, to feel prepared, because it's like an instrument. You have to prepare.
You have to know them in and out, and you have to know the entire orchestra. It's not just one instrument. You need to know the entire scheme of everything.
Yeah, and for that you need time.
Yeah.
You know, for to study a score in depth and to really feel comfortable to be in front of a group of 60 people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You have to feel really comfortable with what you know about the score, because that's the only reason why you're there. You know, if you don't know the score,
trusting you to know.
if you don't know the score, you shouldn't be there. Period.
Yeah.
You know, and for that you need to be comfortable and you need to know. So I think that the score, the studies time is very precious and something that with time it's difficult to you know to we have to protect that time. And but I think that for now that's the biggest, and I mean usually like the balance, professional, personal,
For sure.
I think that's something that's but you know, you get wiser and then you start learning how to say no to, and to
well,
put
it's
your
hard when you love what
boundaries
you do, right? So
Yes,
like, the temptation
it
is always there to just be like, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, and you know, and especially when the opportunities are not there.
Yeah.
You know, so I always consider myself very lucky. I'm a lucky
Lead
person.
with gratitude, always a good idea.
Yes, I'm a very lucky person. I considered myself like me, and I know so many conductors that do not have the luxury that I have to have orchestras and to work with so many orchestras, so many artists, and you know, beautiful people, having beautiful people around. And
but you've worked really hard for that too. So
yes,
for sure.
You know,
like,
yes, but
there's two sides.
but
of that.
there is hard work, but there is also luck.
Yes,
and
for sure.
I think there is
a good balance.
both encounter each other. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For sure. Do you think that because being conductor, have you found like mentoring a big part of that role as well? Like with
definitely,
you know, students that are people coming up that are studying music or want to be conductors. Like,
I think it's essential. Unfortunately, it's not everybody who does that. But I think among the women conductors that I know, this is more. I think we are more aware of that because we need it.
Yeah.
You know, it was not there for us.
Sure.
And again, bringing back my mentor Marion, like if it wasn't for her, you know, she helped us a lot.
Right.
Not only by being who she is, but by mentoring us. So, at least for me, I feel it's a way to keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And to give back. You know, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't helped, or if I didn't have a wonderful mentor and wonderful people around me. You know, show me, giving me the opportunity to fail.
Yeah. That's a big one, right?
Yeah, no, really,
You have to be
because
willing to fail.
you have to be conducting an orchestra is not like playing a flute or a violin. I mean, there is a lot of craft that goes
of
there, but
course.
that the reason why I'm saying that is that a flute or a violin you can pick up at home and play
Yeah.
and practice. An orchestra you don't have at home.
You can't just pull one out of your pocket.
Yeah, that's But hey, when I was younger, I used to call my friends, come home, let's get some pizza, let's
Yeah.
But that's how you learn. It's to have like that safety net, that safe space where you can learn from your mistakes, because otherwise you don't learn.
What do you think? So, with having had such a momentous mentor in your life that helped you kind of learn these things and gave you that space to fail, what do you think the biggest piece of advice she gave you, or like a takeaway that you could share with someone coming up behind you would be?
Well,
It's probably a level 10 question, right?
No, so many things. So many things. But I think that the first one that will come to my mind is really resilience.
Yeah.
Don't stop trying. Don't, if that's your passion, work hard, work ethics. That's very important.
Yeah.
And be resilient. You work hard, and that's it.
Can you think of a time you've had to push past like a really big fail in your career, or maybe not a fail but a stumble?
Oh yeah, but is it? We are always I think that's the thing. We are always learning.
Yeah.
That's not. We are all at least. I think that every single artist, every single conductor is gonna tell you that we are our worst critics. So we are always feeling that we are overcoming something.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I had to, it was just the trust. Trust myself,
Yeah.
and trust.
Yeah.
It's just things are not. Some things are not on your control, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's great. Because with this type of with unexpected situations bring opportunities
Yeah.
for things that you don't even imagine. So that's, and I think that appreciate the beauty of the moment, and appreciate the beauty of not being in control. I
Yeah.
think that this is something that I learned recently, but was not. It didn't come naturally,
Yeah.
But it comes with with experience. It comes with you're more confident.
Sure.
And but yeah.
What can you tell us about what that story, like what happened that caused you to learn that?
I don't think that there is one episode.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a constant evolution. I think that's there's nothing. There's no episode that I could single out and say like.
Just like being on stage and things kind of unfold how they unfold, and you have to kind of roll
yeah,
with it.
and then you're kind of like, okay, I think I handled this better than yesterday.
Yeah.
And
That's
I think
that's so key. Yeah. I feel like in any
just
career.
be better than yesterday. And that it's not about other people. It's not, and because it's so easy also to compare ourselves
Oh yeah.
with others, and
It's a creativity killer.
Yeah. And another thing that Marin that love about her style of mentoring, embrace who you are. That's and
Yeah, I love
and
that.
I know that's so it might sound so like, okay, yeah, but everybody says that, but no, it's not cliche, it's actually true.
Yeah.
Embrace who you are. Don't try to be someone else. I mean, of course we have our similarities, but we are
Your own
so
voice.
unique.
Yeah.
We are, and that's, I think that's also essential. Just embrace who you are, and don't, find your niche, find your.
I think that's really where you start, and maybe, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but like, I feel like that's when you really start to find and feel comfortable in what you're doing, or you find that trust is when you really start to just be who you are. Like, stop following along with what other people in your industry are doing, or like maybe you take pieces of that as like a learning and then you put your own spin on it, and that's when you start to feel that trust, like, hey, okay, I can kind of, I have control of this particular plate that's going, you know, and like, I know that's something I can totally relate to that, and I'm in a totally different career, but creatively, like for me, just looking for ways that I can just be and express my own kind of point of view. I've always felt like those are the projects that go the best. They're the ones that connect the most. So that's really cool, and really cool that you're able to pass that on to another generation coming up behind you.
Yes, no, and I think that's what, you know, that's part of the mission. But also, you know, that's another thing that's we are not only sometimes certain careers or certain industries.
Yeah.
They love boxes.
Yeah.
They
so
love
much.
They love boxes. You know, and you're more than you know, you're more than a
box.
You're more than a box, you know.
Yeah, so much more.
You're all your own box, or you're beyond the box.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You've broken the box. You put the box back together in a different way.
Yes.
You left some pieces out. Like
and that was so funny because talking about the Antwerp Philharmonic and the Night of the Proms, that was the first time that I felt okay to be myself.
Oh, I love that.
You know,
okay.
because it was so much. I mean, if you see the videos, you know that I have so much fun in that project.
Yeah,
I
totally.
Really do. But yet, there are questions people often ask me, like, but Alex, have you become a pops conductor only? It's like, no.
Yeah.
I do from Mahler to Lady Gaga. I don't need to. You know?
Yeah.
It's not only about one of the other, you know. There's all of those shades that we are not only one person.
Well, and I feel like that's really what makes what you do so special and so cool, is that, and that's something when we very first talked the very first time, I remember just how passionate you're like radiate passion, and like you love what you do so much, and what you do is so different than so many other people out there. Like, you make a space for yourself and for other people to bring in not just what is coming, but what has been, and kind of create a space for both of those things to live in. And that is super special and so hard to do, by the way, like really, really hard because of those boxes, right?
Yeah, because of those boxes.
Yeah,
because
those damn boxes.
Really, and that's why that was the. Believe me, like during that pandemic, I got this frustration moment.
Oh no.
You know, no, but sometimes, usually, no, most of the times when I'm frustrated, something productive kind or creative.
And it like explodes out of the frustration.
Yeah, it explodes out of the frustration.
Yeah.
But I was frustrated with all those questions.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, "Oh, you're Baltimore assistant, Baltimore Symphony assistant, and now you're doing pops. And what is the difference?" There is no difference.
Yeah.
I was like, and my answer was always like, why do you think? It was like, there is no difference. Beethoven was a rock star.
Yeah.
That was always what I was gonna say. You know what? Beethoven was a rock star at that time. He was an entertainer. That time there was no
pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and that time, like, the musical world was not like people did not press a play. People actively play. You know, that was the music who was being, like, that Beethoven was producing at that time is kind of like the same music that's being produced now in massive.
Right.
There was no recording before, and that's the thing. You know, that's what people don't really.
He was an
do.
innovator.
Yeah,
So.
but in all of the composers at that time, you know, that was new music. That was what, like, you know, people were like, oh, you know, like Ariana Grande just dropped a new single. At that time, was like, oh, Brahms just released a new Hungarian dance.
Yeah,
you know,
they just wrote it down
people
and
will
had
go
to
to
pass
the
it out.
people will go to the publisher, and then they will get. So that was the thing, you know, and that's what I try to remind people, and that's when the podcast came about.
Yeah,
Because I
love
was like, oh,
that.
you know what, Beethoven was a rock star. Let's talk about that. Let's talk. And then we realized everybody, because I made sure to interview people that were in the classical and in the pop.
Yeah.
And there was nobody that I talked to saw any boundaries. But
Yeah.
we like to do that. We like
Yeah.
to put things in our brain.
Our
needs
brains
boxes.
like to compartmentalize things.
And
but
it's not.
Rhythm is not a boxed up thing.
It's
like
not.
it flows through all music.
It is. But we like that. Kind of like need that.
Yeah.
But
for
we
sure.
should get used to just
letting things be.
letting things be and being free.
Be kind of a less stressed out world, wouldn't it?
Right?
you know,
Right?
if we
Like,
could
just let it be.
Like just
Could be
go
a song.
frozen, Yeah. Oh my gosh, Disney. They figured it out. It's like subliminal. They're like trying to teach
Right?
us something. Oh my gosh. So I want to go back for a moment. Yeah, you were talking about how you used to corral your friends to do those mini orchestras, and that's how you were kind of practicing.
Yeah.
And do you think that, I love asking this question because I've asked every person on the show, I think, this question because I love it, just hearing about it. But do you think that was your first memory of making, or did it come before that? Like,
Of what you mean making it like
anything creative. So like, your first memory of making.
Oh gosh.
And it could be
My
anything.
first memory of making was
I can't wait.
I was a toddler. Like I have memories. Like people say, oh, yeah, when you are a toddler, you don't remember things. I remember clearly, and I was probably around 2 or 3 years old because I remember we moved houses, and that was the old house.
Oh, okay.
And I remember having like a broken toy instrument
Oh,
that I
wow.
was banging around,
Oh,
and that
my
was my
gosh.
first memory of like sounds,
Like
of playing,
acknowledging that, like,
Yeah.
this is a musical instrument.
and and being fascinated with sounds. And I remember I was like terrorizing my entire family with that, and until the point that my mom was like, okay, we need to make something about that.
Yeah.
And then she was obsessed with the sound of music.
Oh,
She was obsessed. She's still obsessed with the sound of music. And so she taught me to play, she taught me the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, so she started teaching me do, a, dear, on that
cute.
instrument. And that was the first memory that I remember.
Core memory.
And like to have like, okay, I made something, and
Yeah.
that belongs to me, and that's special. It was
I
that.
love that. I love that you did that with your mom too. That's
Yeah,
so
and
sweet.
it was very, it was, that I think that was my first memory of being in love with music.
Yeah. Ugh,
And
made me cry. That's like that's a really good one.
no, don't cry.
I know. Yeah, I won't cry.
Otherwise, I will get emotional.
Yeah, right. I love that. Have you gotten to perform that in an orchestra before? Like,
No.
since they're like a full circle moment yet?
No, not yet. But
Okay.
maybe.
I'll put it in the suggestion box.
Like
for
the Sound of Music next time, and then I will bring Mom.
yeah, you're like, look. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look, we went somewhere like with that the Sound of Music, and it's still like I have a special place with that. That music
Yeah,
has a
of
special place for
course.
me. Like, and sometimes I know that people kind of like, okay, we are done with this. I was like, oh, we still have.
You're like, oh, I still kind of like it though. Oh, that's so sweet. I know that you travel a lot too for what you do, and you're traveling globally. So like, how do you live here in Henderson, or
Yes.
so how many months out of the year are you traveling versus being here in town on average?
Well, that's a good question. A lot. A lot. I am twice, like every month, I'm here about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the reason
cool.
why I know that,
There's a practical reason.
no, it's for a practical reason. It's because for every month we have a performance. So
Okay.
every month, like we rehearse for 2 weeks. So every month, 2 weeks, I'm here. That said, November, December, I am in Europe.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
that's the only the only time that
You're like very much gone.
then I'm not here.
Yeah.
But besides November, December, every month, 2 weeks I'm here.
Very cool. Is that something that you expected out of your career, or like has the travel, that much travel, been unexpected, or?
No, that traveling is expected.
Yeah.
And to be really honest, I'm fine with it. Like because I moved so much when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That I think that my first big move was when I was 13 years old. Actually, 13 to 14, and it was a little bit traumatic.
Oh no.
I mean, imagine like you grew up like in that small town, and then you have friends and you have your family, and then all of a sudden your parents
starting again.
Like, and at that age it's like crucial. You know? And for me, it was
13's a tough age. Just
it
in
is
general.
And imagine like. I was advanced in the school.
Yeah.
Like I was 2 years. I graduated when I was 16.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I was 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
So when I went to São Paulo, like the kids were normal age in the high school. So I was 13 years old, and my peers, my colleagues, were like 14, 15.
Oh okay.
Or 15, 16. So I was a baby,
yeah,
and they were teenagers.
You're getting thrown into the
yeah,
pool.
no, really. So for me, like that, it was traumatic.
Yeah.
It was really traumatic. But then I adapt, you know, and then I learned how to adapt.
How to navigate
yeah,
that.
so, and then when I moved, that was why when I moved here was like everybody thought that was, you know, I was going to be here for 2 years, and then even I thought I was going to be here for 2 years, and here, I mean, America.
Yeah.
For 2 years, and then come back to Brazil. But then, you know,
just let it be,
let
and it
it
happened.
be, and then you know, follow the life, what life gives you, and opportunities, and then here I am 15 years later.
But prepped you for all that travel.
But I was like New York, Baltimore, here. Now I'm partially in Washington as well, and then Europe, and so for me it's okay. I like it.
You're at home in a lot of places.
I have a gypsy blood.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like to get to know people. I like to get to know places, and it's part of the adventure.
For sure. Do you have any crazy stories from traveling on the road with the orchestra? Like, I don't know, like the car broke down and you guys had to run to the venue or something?
Gosh, no, because you know what? No, with the proms, it's so well organized.
A well-oiled machine.
It's so well organized that we, like that. It's a tough schedule. Like you finish the show around midnight.
Yeah.
And then 10:30, next day you have to have your luggage on downstairs, and then 11 you leave.
Wow. Okay.
And then if you're not there, 10:30 with your luggage will not be on will not be on the room.
Oh, geez.
And if you're not there at 11, you have to take a taxi to the next city.
Oh, wow.
It's Germany, so it's a very strict. So nothing like, and they are they know how to predict everything.
They're very good at managing the team.
They are very good. So you just need to show up.
Yeah.
So that thing, that I remember, no.
Do you have like a routine for yourself? So having it be such a strict schedule like that, you're getting done performing. Do you have like kind of a routine, or like a thing you do after the show to kind of like come down from the show to like be able to go to sleep? And nice.
Wine.
That helps.
Yeah, no, but actually that's true. You know, I'm trying to be better now because, you know, with age.
Yeah, that can make it harder to be ready at 10:30, right?
Yeah. But usually we do have our routine.
Yeah.
You know, the band and we usually they also have like a VIP party. Like we go there to say hi to people.
Sure. Sponsors.
To sponsors, and then but that's usually when we unwind.
Yeah.
But if there is no VIP party, we all meet at the bar with the artist and with the band, and then we kind of like rethink what happened with the show, and
it's almost like a sporting event a little bit, or like a team, you know, like
yeah,
football.
We regroup,
replay
and then we go to bed, and then next year,
replay the tapes, like figure it out.
That's exactly what we do. I mean, that said, I mean, there's nothing happened with the buses, but there were interesting moments during shows.
Oh, okay.
So
Do tell.
Oh, no, things happen. Like for instance, last year there was one of the artists came and the microphone was not ready.
Oh my gosh.
And then
okay.
we had the music going on, and then
You're like,
where's the
stop,
singer?
stop,
Where's
stop.
the singer? And then, but then we have a way to communicate, And then I grabbed the microphone and I said, okay, when she starts, it's gonna be bar number 18, and and then everybody was like, okay, we got it. And then, just. But those are the moments that you're like, and there was one day.
Like the tech guy didn't make it onto the bus.
I don't know what happened. No, but that. But those things happen because it's a live show. Even though we are very professional.
Sure,
and we're very,
of course.
But those things happen, and that was another one that was really good, because those things nobody noticed, but you notice.
Yeah, like the audience isn't aware, but you guys know something's unfolding.
Yeah, so that was like we started one song with it was on click track, and the click track was too fast, and was not. Was not the right one. It was supposed to be like a, ballad, and we were like blah blah blah, and then we were all panicked. Like we were like, oh my god! But this was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you see like the singer was in an elevator coming up, and then you could see her eyes like, oh my god,
Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. And then I grabbed the microphone like, cut the click, and then meanwhile the drummer was pointing to his drum. This is the right tempo, and she looked at the drummer. Yes, and then we were good.
Oh my gosh!
Really, like less than 10 seconds.
So it sounds like you guys have a really good rapport then.
Mm-hmm.
So like some of that after school activity, like after show activities, like that, where that gets built, or like that kind of secondhand communication.
I've been there for 10 years already.
Yeah. Okay.
So and they are all professionals.
Right.
So and we are and it's a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like I'm again talking about being lucky.
Yeah.
I am lucky there. Like they are the best of the best in lighting, in everything. Like the producer, he picked the best people. He's a great producer, a great leader, because he knows where the talent is, and he draws that.
Well,
from.
and it sounds like being able to adapt is a big part of that too.
Mm-hmm.
With those moments where you're panicking a little bit, like you have to figure out.
Oh no, you're hard, but at the same time you're smiling. You're like, yeah, that's great. No, but in fact you're like, cut the clip, like with a smile in your face.
Like cut it.
But everybody's aware, and and it's we really synced. But it's funny because we love of course we don't want to have this type of things to happen. But when that happened, we love when those things happen, because it
feels like winning when you beat it, right?
It's like we made it. Oh, we are so good,
Adversity makes us stronger.
Nobody noticed those things, just us, But then we are kind of like, we are good.
Yeah.
We are good.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I feel, what time is it? I don't even know how long we've been sitting here, but I could talk
It's
to
a
you all
coffee
day,
with a friend.
Yeah, I'm like, we'll be here for a while, guys. We'll be here for a while, guys. Let me see. I should at least look at my questions and see. I don't usually use these because I'm like, I'll just chat. So, here's a good one. So,
here's a good one.
You'll like this one.
Oh,
so, yeah,
let's get a cut.
Do you, so you're traveling, you have to do a lot of studying to make sure you know the scores, but there's also what you do is very creative, and I would imagine you get you fill your well with what you do on stage, but are there other ways that you're able to kind of ignite like that creative part of your brain to kind of keep that motivation going, so you're not feeling like the burnout that sometimes happens when you are involved in a creative endeavor all the time, because you're very busy? So
I am, but you know what, it sounds a little, I'm gonna sound so crazy now, but
that's okay. We like
I love what I really love what I do, and I think that you know, it's in order. The reason why I figured out what I want to be a musician was the day that I realized that I wake up thinking of music and I go to bed thinking of music. You know, and everything comes, and I relate and I do parallels with music. You know, I see art everywhere, and I see music everywhere. You know, I love like visual arts. I love like we were talking about, like my sister is a pastry chef. She's
so
extremely creative. You know, so I see art on that too. You know, I think that music is an artistic expression, but first of all you were an artist. You know, and then you chose that art form to express yourself. But first of all, you were an artist, so therefore everything fits you. You know, and I can see parallels with my profession in anything. Even like I started a couple of years ago boxing.
Oh, I love that.
And I love that. I really love that, and it's so helpful for conducting. It's so and it helps me.
Must help your cardio, because that's a very active role that you play up there.
It is, and because one of the things people don't realize is that it's a physical. We are athletes. You know, like I had like a tape here now, like the before I came here, you still see the marks here.
Oh yeah.
Because I had an injury. I had tennis elbow.
Oh my gosh.
And and people don't realize
from conducting.
From conducting.
Oh wow. Okay.
From conducting, and that because it is physical, and your arms are moving. You know, you're active there, and but at the same time, your brain needs to keep moving.
Right.
To keep alert. You know, so that was like when I started boxing. That was the first thing, and I was like, okay, this is brilliant for what I do, because it's combinations of arms, which is what I do. Combinations of arms. You know, you have like jab, cross, uppercut. You know,
the whole deal.
The whole deal, but it's in a different technique.
Yeah.
And then your body's getting tired, but your brain needs to
know the rhythm, or know that combination.
Exactly.
Of moves.
There is a rhythm in boxing. There is a rhythm in boxing. So, but I think that there is nothing that I would do that I would not see a parallel, or I would not see that adds to.
So you're able to draw that kind of inspiration from different things, or like find the music in all the things.
I'm weird. I'm
I
weird like
love
that.
I love that.
I'm weird like that.
I don't think that's weird at all. I think it's awesome.
I love that, you know, and that's how, and I think that's how the creative brains. We always try to find a kind of like that source that will bring you back to that. It's what makes
a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling. Exactly. It's who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's who you are.
So let's talk a little bit more about the physical piece of what you do. So, because that is totally true. We haven't talked about that at all. So like, what you do isn't just like artistic and mental, but you're also up there
Physical.
like jumping around. You're very active. Like I've seen you perform. Like you have a lot of energy. You have to keep that energy the entire show. So shows roughly an hour and a half, maybe.
Well, here, yes, 1 hour, an hour and a half. In Europe, with the proms, 3 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you are 3 hours up there, like basically running the whole time. Whoa. Okay, so what is your workout routine like then? Because I'm going to need to know.
Boxing.
And that's it? That's all
No,
you're
it's
doing?
not only what I do, but I do everything that you can imagine. I mean, boxing, that was the thing that's
like changed
helping.
the game.
Yeah, it's because there are so many parallels.
Yeah.
But I was also like a big fan of Pilates
and
bar class. Like, of course, there is like rhythm.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like dancing and.
Do you like to switch it up? Like
I do. I do switch it up, but now recently what I'm doing more is I have a nap. And I like to think that he's my real personal
Your trainer, yeah.
You know, his name is Magnus. He
Oh.
trains celebrities, and I think he's my
Hello.
personal. But you know, he does have an app, and it's really cool. So I kind of like follow his program.
That's very
But
cool.
I like to think that I really know him
Yeah,
personally.
he is in your corner. He is like,
He is there, like
yeah,
he's
he's
supporting me. He's
crafting
telling
your
you got
body."
this, Alex. Go. Yeah, so I like to think like I have a mini Magnus
Yeah.
here on my head. But yeah, so I do that like weight training. I don't really like cardio, so that's why
you
I
have
do
to
the
find like a
boxing,
different
yeah.
way to get that in.
That's
But I
what-
feel like boxing though is
Yeah, I like walking. Walking is great. I love walking, but running is not my thing.
yeah.
But I have to, you know, because to keep up with a
Sure.
3-hour show. you know.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, no,
to be
it
up
is
there,
it is a
so-
lot. It is a lot.
That's a long time to keep your mind actively engaged. Like I am now knowing that your shows are that long on your European tours. I'm like
2
shocked that you
months.
have energy to like do anything after that show. I would just be like, I need to lay down, guys. Like,
No, and that's the thing, you know, the energy goes until 4 in the morning. You
Yeah.
know, you have to.
you have to
because it's like,
contain it.
and then you have to go to sleep, and then it's, you know, it's an intense schedule. It's really an
Yeah.
intense schedule. But again, I think that everybody on that show, we love so much what
Yeah, sounds like you feed off of each
we
other's
do. Yeah, we
energy,
do.
so-
We do. Yeah, and I think that's, and then my job is not only musical, you know, it's also to keep up the energy there.
Yeah.
You know, it's but again, like the team is a dream team. Is really
Sounds
a dream
like
team.
it. And has that been like you've been with them for 10 years, you
10
said,
years.
so has it been mostly the same people, or is
Yeah.
it like the same kind of returning cast?
Mhm.
I feel like that's so,
Yeah.
first of all, so cool that everyone is so committed into
Mhm.
that. And then also like explains a lot of why you guys have such a secondhand
Yeah.
kind of communication, because when
Yeah.
you work with somebody that long, you know how
Yeah.
they work, they know how you work, you know each other's signals.
Yeah,
like,
it's, we call it the Proms family, and it's
Yeah,
really a
that's
Proms
so
family.
cool.
Like we are solid, like we are a solid cast.
yeah.
The artists change, so that's
Yeah.
why we have to be solid, you know, because every year is like last year, for instance, we had Toto, we had Anastasia, we have James Morrison, you know,
Right.
like that's, and then this year we're gonna have David Stewart, Shaggy. So it's
Wow, okay.
it's different, like it's a different cast of
For sure.
stars, but our production is always the same. Sound crew, like we even travel with our own catering.
Oh, okay. Very
So
cool.
the chefs go there like the next day that they finish the show here, they are already traveling to the next city because they try to find like local and fresh food for us. So we're spoiled.
Wow, that's so cool. I
We're
love
spoiled.
that.
We're really spoiled.
Yeah.
And like if we travel with our own stage, like 200 people on the road.
Yeah.
The own stage, like we go there, we build a stage, so there is that we don't need to adapt to a new stage.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
just-
feels more like home because you've seen it over and
Sound,
over.
the
so-
sound person, like I have a sound guy that's only for me, and
That's so cool. I love that. And like, well, what you said, it's a well-oiled machine. So,
Yeah.
can we talk a little more about? I want to learn more about the music director side of what you do too, because that's a totally different
it's
kind
a
of role,
totally
right?
different. Yes.
And I know you mentioned that when you came into that role, it's like nobody was really there to teach you. You have to
No.
kind of figure it out, right? So
Yeah.
what does that role look like, and how did you kind of figure out how to thrive in that? Because I would argue that you're thriving in it. So like,
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, I was lucky with my mentor because I was her assistant.
okay.
So while I
You're
was in
watching.
school learning like how to conduct, I
Yeah.
was also assisting her and learning how the music director
Yeah.
role happens. I would say, like, let's give here, for instance, the Henderson Symphony music director role. It's a lot about knowing the community.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot about knowing your audience and community engagement. And
It can be tricky.
it is. But you know what? It is fascinating. You know, and you have to think about a whole season of concerts that make sense.
Yeah.
In my case, you know,
You're a
I like.
storyteller.
I am a storyteller. I like
Yeah.
to have that arch. I like to have, but I also like to have, you know, things that make people, you know, either feel good or either ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's
Provoking.
yeah, I like to have that. You know, to bring new music, to kind of like, okay, so this is what is going on here in the world right
Yeah.
now. You know, we had a very special season a couple of years ago, which was the Hero season, and I really loved that season because it was direct. It was very personal because it was about my tennis hobby.
Oh.
But it was a parallel between musicians and athletes.
Yeah. Oh,
You
very
know,
cool.
and
Okay.
and that was very nice.
Yeah.
It was very nice to and like, so the entire season was not about the orchestra but the soloists.
Yeah.
So we had like big soloists like having like playing the most difficult things
Yeah.
for their instruments, you know, and showing all the ability. So
Yeah.
that was I love that, and you know,
so
and our
cool.
upcoming season is going to be very cool as well, and it's a celebration of artistic minds.
Yeah. I
You
love
know,
that.
it's called fantasy, and we are going to be exploring this creative world that, you
Ah.
know, that not only musicians but storytellers, you know,
Yeah.
created, like with fantastic creatures, you know, like
Ooh,
things that in
fun.
unimaginable, you know, that's some, but most of the time it serves as a metaphor and
Yeah.
teaches you a lesson, or just build that world for to give you some escape.
That's so cool.
So this is because I think that the world we need right now, we have right
Yeah.
now, it's we need some
We need some inspiration, right?
we need some inspiration, we need
Yeah.
some, you know, some we need that message that everything is going to be all right.
Yeah.
you
Little
know.
hope would be good.
A little hope. So it's yeah, so it's going to be a special season, and we have it's all surrounded by amazing characters and
Yeah.
fairy tales, and
Oh, I love
so
that.
we are, like I said, we are going to open with Frozen,
Yeah.
which is great, and we are going to have Jaws,
Yeah.
and then we have like one concert only with
Mhm.
fairy tales, music inspired
Oh,
by
super
fairy tales.
fun.
Yeah, and then music inspired by movie music, which is great as
Always
well.
fantastical.
So yeah, so that's I mean, coming back to your question, I think that's what we are not really taught. You know, is to
Yeah.
observe how people program.
Mm.
But in the end, you find your own style.
Yeah.
You know, in the end, you get inspired, and then I think that's it. You know, music director are also storytellers,
Yeah. I would agree.
but also need to be aware of the community. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I love is working with the youth, like
Mhm.
mentoring. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember, we had like the
I
young
do.
artists and the concert for kids.
And what a special thing for them to be able to perform in a big
Mhm.
orchestra like that
Yeah.
at such a young age.
And that's something that's transforming
Yeah.
for us, and I believe for them too.
Yeah.
You know, we
Oh, I
got
hope
some
so. Yeah.
It's beautiful to see them coming back,
Mhm.
and you know, saying how
Yeah.
important that moment was for their lives. you
They'll
know.
remember it, right? That's like going to be a core memory
Exactly,
for them.
regardless if they're gonna pursue music
Mhm.
or not. You know, that's
Yeah.
something that is on their core. You know, and it's
Yeah.
part. It helped develop the person that
Yeah.
they become.
That's
you know,
so
it's
cool. It's also kind of a cool thing to think about that, like, what you do, other like people will carry with them
Yeah.
into their life,
Yeah.
right? So
yeah.
it's like a little present you're able
Yeah,
to give
I
them.
think that's. I think that in the music director career is changing a lot. You know, to only be like about conductors and composers, to be more like what is this season gonna provide for
Yeah.
the community, and like youth and kids, and let's
There's
what-
a business
the news-
aspect to
yeah.
it a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
like thinking about how to help kind of keep perpetuating the
create
orchestra
new
also.
audiences.
Yeah.
Now create, and that's I think that's the it's always going to be the question.
Yeah.
You know, how to build new audiences.
Mhm.
But I think the core is always education. You
Yeah.
know, it's always demystifying the
Mhm.
classical music,
Right.
because we were stuck in the 19th century, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you see certain orchestras, they still wear tuxedos and tails. This is something we don't wear those things
No.
anymore. you know. So please, let's stop with that.
You're like, we can enough.
Yeah,
Like-
and then no, but seriously, and then the biggest question that people ask is, how should I dress? I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel I belong to the concert
No.
hall because, and that's, you know, that's sad to hear.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
That there's
to hear.
like sort of this preconceived idea of what you have to be
no, it's that's
to
like
belong to that.
yeah, no, that's it's superior. You know, it's something that's above. It's not.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
good music is good music.
Right.
You know, and it belongs to everybody.
Is there a concert hall that you would love to be able to perform at that you haven't yet?
Oh.
That you would love to belong to?
That I would love to belong to. I don't know. You know, I usually I keep that Pollyanna type of thought. You know,
Yeah.
like coming from the small village that I came from, Brazil.
Sure.
Just being here, it's already. I'm already
Your
happy.
mind is blown.
No, I'm really I keep it humble. You know, I think
Yeah.
that anyone will say in my position was like, oh, Concerto Ball. Yeah, Concerto Ball is a gorgeous hall. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, they want me to perform there.
You're like,
I'll
sure.
be there. But you know what?
You're not heartbroken though if
You
it
know,
doesn't happen.
I'm happy. You know, I'm
Yeah.
really happy with what I have, and you know, I think it's more than buildings for me. It's people.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's the people
beautiful.
that I work with.
Mhm.
You know, if I will be, you know, let's go back to Concerto Ball. You know, if I will be with Concerto Ball with a group that we are not connecting, the
That wouldn't feel
experience,
good anyway.
yeah, it wouldn't feel good.
Mhm.
You know, yes, I would be. I would love to be there with all my friends.
Yeah,
yes,
you're like, if I can
making music.
pick.
Yes,
If I could pick the
let's do
cast.
that. You know, let's do that. But you know, I think that's more than
Yeah.
halls. It's people.
That's very. I love that. I love that so much. So if I was to turn that question then,
Yeah.
so instead of a hall, is there a person that you would like to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
Oh my God, the person.
Maybe many. I don't know. That's
Gosh, no, that's oh wow, huh? That's a good question. There is a composer that I haven't worked yet. That's Philip Glass.
Oh, okay.
I have conducted his pieces, but I haven't worked with him yet. And I think that he will be one of the top of the lists.
Okay. Philip, if you're listening.
Yeah, Philip. No, but really, like again, I'm so lucky that
Yeah.
I have had like so many people around
Yeah.
me. And I would say on the pop side, like I am so spoiled. I'm really so spoiled. You know, I think that the ones that are still alive, I would say that went to the proms, and let's fingers crossed they will come back. Cyndi Lauper,
Oh.
you know, come on.
Yeah,
like,
that's so
she's-
cool.
Annie Lennox, although David Stewart's gonna be with us this year.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But she's no longer performing, so but that will be a dream come
yeah.
true. You know, but that I mean the list goes
It's
on.
long,
like
right?
Steve Wonder, Alanis Morissette. You know,
Yeah.
there's Lady
So
Gaga.
many.
I love Gaga. You know,
Yeah.
I really
Who
do.
doesn't?
I mean, seriously, like you know, there's some. But in the other hand, I mean, come on, I had Anastasia last year.
Yeah.
Like, she's a rock star, that woman. And Toto, like they
huge.
like Joseph Williams, what a voice, you know, what a pleasure to work with that man.
Do you feel like when you work with someone at that caliber that you pick up things from them, or
Yeah.
like does that help your performance, or is it just like another kind of like 'cause
It's
they're different.
inspiration.
Yeah,
it's inspiration. You
Mhm.
know, it gives you, but it usually keeps you humble because
Yeah.
you see, like for instance, this weekend Alan Parsons was here and he performed with us in the proms, and I had the pleasure to with him for 2 months.
Oh wow.
And so I went to see the show, and we went backstage. I went to say hi, and yes, that man is a legend. You know, he is a legend. Like he produced Dark Side of the Moon.
Wow.
Like that's a master
Yeah.
engineer, sound engineer.
In all music circles. right?
Seriously, like you listen to that album, it's still relevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound dated. So that man is a legend just because of that. Plus his entire body of work with Alan Parsons' project.
Right.
And yet so humble. You know,
Aw.
he doesn't need to
Love
prove
that.
anything to anyone, and yeah, it's and I think that keeps you humble.
Yeah.
You know, keeps you humble, because you think like, you know what, like what Hello Parsons will do if he was in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to prove anything. I'm fine. You know, but it keeps you humble, and it keeps you, but especially with, you know, between classical and pop, especially with the pop artists, is to connect with the audiences, because I think that with and that's something that I since the very beginning here in Henderson I try to establish. You know, the first thing I do is to talk to the audience,
Yeah.
to welcome them, and to make them feel that
Like they're part of the
they
team.
are part,
Yeah.
because they are. The
Yeah.
audience is part of the performance,
Mhm.
and they need to be acknowledged, and
Right.
and you know, and they need to feel that we want them to have a good time.
Right. That's the whole
We're-
point, right?
Yeah, we are having a good time on stage. We want them to have a good time,
Yeah.
and that's something that usually classical musicians don't do, especially conductors.
To break that barrier.
To break that barrier,
Mhm.
and that's the first thing that you see a pop artist doing. Like, you guys having a
Yeah.
good time? Yeah, you know? That's the first thing, and that's something that I learned from
Yeah.
them as well. But everyone has a you know, a particularity that's so, you know. But I think that's something that is being humble first, but also always be there,
Mm.
present, you
Yeah.
know, and enjoying what you do. Don't forget why you become a musician. I think that's what.
Do you find in those longer performances, because I'm still in awe that 3 hours is a lot. I'm trying to think of anything I do creatively for 3 hours. Like, I guess that I would liken that to, like, you know, if I'm drawing something and like you get into like that, there's like this like
The zone.
zone.
You
Yeah,
have a
like there's an
zone.
existence that is there that you kind of disappear into.
Yeah.
Like you're there, you're present, you know what's going on, but you kind of just
Yeah.
you exist, but you're not really like aware of anything else but like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that almost is necessary for like a 3-hour performance to like you almost like have to become the music.
Yeah.
In a way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you just used the words that my former teacher used to become the music.
Okay.
You become the music.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Because mentally, otherwise, that would be to do anything for 3 hours focused is, you know, that's a lot of mental strength to
it
be able
is.
to do that.
But,
So.
but you have to,
Yeah.
because even though I have to be in the zone,
Mm-hmm.
if something like that, for instance, the click is
Yeah.
not, or the artist
You have to
didn't
be
come,
aware.
I have to be aware, or oboe skipped 2 bars. you
Come
know.
back, oboe.
Yeah, like, but so that's you have to be. There is a awareness also in the losing part,
Yeah.
not losing, but in the zone part.
Uh-huh.
That's awareness and the zone part, and then you have to be, at least the conductor needs to be right in between.
Like you need to still be able to hear enough of you have to know what's going on so that you can
Exactly,
help
and
to
that's
guide.
another thing that Marion always said: hear but do not listen. And that is something that's great, because it's a conducting lesson, but it's also a life lesson.
Oh, wow.
Like, you
I
hear.
think I need Marion to be my
Oh
mentor.
no, Marion's a life coach.
Yeah.
No, you are there. You hear. You are aware, but you don't allow that to interfere in your inner pulse or in your inner rhythm or in your zone.
Yeah.
You are aware, but that does not touch you. That does not
Doesn't interfere with like the moment of what you're doing.
No, and that's kind of like, if you think, because I'm into meditation too, something that I never thought I was gonna do. I'm doing meditation,
Yeah.
and that's a lot about that. You do not allow that to interfere in your.
It's very. Have you found? This is a good question actually for meditation. I've tried it, and I do try to do meditation, but sometimes I do find it's hard to slip into that. It's that zone, right? Like when you're intentionally trying to go there. Do you have like is there something you do to get yourself to that space, or like to quiet your mind, I guess, if it's too loud at the time? Because I would imagine too, like you're a person, you have things going on, and like
breathing.
not ever. It's just breathing. Like,
Breathing.
okay.
But I'm we're talking apps. First Magnus, now this one.
There's an app for that.
There's an app for that. No, seriously, like it was during the boxing thing. Our coach. Let's give a shout out to Gerald.
Gerald. What's up, Gerald?
No, he is a sweetheart, and he is specialized. Actually, he went to school to study meditation.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
He's
Okay.
really cool, and he recommended this app called the Fit Mind, which is
Okay.
great because the reason why I didn't like meditation was because it was too much of like listen to the sound of the
Yeah.
wave. It was too much of, and I'm more practical.
Yeah.
than that, you know.
It didn't work. That didn't
No.
work for you.
No, it does not. Like I'm more practical. So there's this one called Fit Mind that treats your brain as a muscle.
Oh, cool.
So
okay.
if you're into sports, if you're into like that's, and you're very practical, that's a great app, and it goes like from increments. You know, you start with 2 minutes and then.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so it's almost like training.
It's like a training.
It's a different type of training, but
Yeah, but it's more related to, you know, practicing
Yeah.
like I do. You know, like when I like it, you go to. It's kind of like.
yeah.
So it helps,
Oh,
and then
very
but
cool.
like the core is always gonna be breathing, but
Yeah.
also for music again.
Yeah, it's music.
Making the relationships with art, and it's always about breathing.
Yeah.
You know, always about breathing.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Breathing is a big part of the whole picture of music too. So
Yeah, yes, it's all like we even use like as a metaphor. That's a
Yeah.
breath. Like just breathe together
Mhm.
when you're a conductor, and you say like breathe together, so it's gonna be together. And
That's very cool. So in addition, something I was thinking while you were talking about the meditation piece of things. Do you do other things to try and keep your mind kind of sharp, or like to feed your brain the good stuff? I like to say, like to keep yourself positive and like moving in the right direction. Like if you have a rough performance or like something happens and it throws you off or something, is there anything that you do to kind of mentally help yourself come back from that, or is it the meditation that does that for you?
no, I think talking to people that I love.
Yeah.
It's essential.
Social therapy.
Yeah, no, really. No, in therapy that has been really helpful too.
Yeah.
But just talk to people that
Yeah.
you trust, that you
Mhm.
love, and I think that's
Yeah.
keeps you
important.
humble
Keeps
too.
you straight.
Keeps you
Straight and narrow.
Yeah, because sometimes they're just gonna say like you're being dramatic.
Yeah. They'll knock you back if you're
Yeah.
being. Take that breath.
Yeah. Yeah, just remember, just start breathing.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
got
gosh.
this.
Oh my gosh. Well, so I don't want to keep you too long.
it's
Are
okay.
you still okay on time?
What time is it?
What time is it? Let's see.
Oh, yes, I'm still
You okay?
I'm still good.
Well, so I'll ask you two more. So
Yeah.
I have one I'll save for the end.
Okay.
And then, okay, so this is one I'll read from my list. So what's a moment in your career so far that's given you, we've talked a lot about gratitude, but like, can you think of a moment in your career that gave you just like, you were just like so grateful for, like that you were just like, whoa, I can't believe that this happened kind of moment, you know?
Oh, there are some. I think the first one that I can think of was when I was with the Baltimore Symphony,
Mm-hmm.
and John Williams was there,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
he's the reason why I became a composer, because I wanted to be a movie music
Wow,
composer.
okay.
And there I was with John Williams and Mary Alsop, who is the reason why I became a
Yeah.
conductor.
Together.
So they are both on the same stage.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a moment that I was kind of like, I can't, and then I start crying, of course. I can't believe this is happening. I have Mary
Oh.
Alsop and John Williams both here together, and
Yeah.
that was
How special.
that
Oh my
was kind of
gosh.
like, is
You're
this,
like pinching yourself.
is
I
that
feel like.
real? Yeah, I was really like, does that really happened to me?
Oh my gosh.
So I think that was the first one. The second one was, I was with the proms. It was one of my first years, and I was sitting because they have what they call the Last Supper, which
Uh-huh.
is the last dinner before the tour, after the rehearsal before the tour.
Yeah.
And I end up in a table with Roger Hudson from Supertramp,
Oh, okay.
Peter Cetera from Chicago,
Oh my gosh.
and Mel C from Spice Girls.
What? What an awesome collection of people.
and that was that, like, and we were talking about gluten free, and
You're like, okay.
I was like, am I sitting, like, is that really my life right now?
Oh my
like, am I,
gosh.
like, is this real? And
Yeah.
so that was kind
That's
of like,
fun. Did they perform with you then?
yeah, that, and they were all in the same show.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Like Peter Cetera, Mel C.
How fun!
Roger
I
Hudson.
love that. Like such an eclectic group of
It is.
musicians.
Oh, it's always like
that's
that.
so on message for you. it's it's so on brand. I love it.
But seriously, I was kind of like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
it.
gosh. I love that. Okay, well, so the last question I like to ask, it's kind of a little bit of artist tag that I like to play. So you are our last guest on season 1.
Woo!
So, woo! But we'll be doing a season 2, and kind of the plan is to reach out to artists that are artists, creators, makers of artists that have been on the show. So if you have one in mind here in Vegas, Henderson, or and one outside of there that you could recommend, and we'll reach out and see potentially if they want to be on.
Oh my god, here are so many.
You can also think about it. I know I'm springing it on you.
No,
so.
but that's cool. Okay, Deanne Letourneau for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
Alexandra Lee, great pianist, and she was actually
fun.
that's actually a very cool story because she was one of our young artists.
Oh, really?
Years ago.
Oh, fun.
And
okay.
last year she came back here.
Uh-huh.
She teaches, and her student won the competition.
Oh my
so it
gosh,
was kind of
that's
like a
so
full
cool.
circle. And this year, this season, she's one of our featured
I love
soloists as
that.
well.
I
So
love
Alexandra
that.
Lee, Alex Gonzalez. He's was born here in the Valley, and he's like all over the world right now.
Oh,
He's
so
fantastic,
cool.
fantastic violin player. Oh my God, those are the 3
Okay.
on top of my head.
We'll
but
take
there
all
are so
3.
many. Yeah, but there
Yeah.
are so many. Like yeah.
Yeah, I feel like every time I ask, I'm always interested because I feel like everyone I've talked to is like, oh my gosh, I know like so many. How do I pick?
Yeah, no, but really, like, I think that on top of my head, those 3,
Yeah.
and then outside here, I'm thinking about conductors, May and Chan. Like she is
Okay.
with the Chicago Sinfonietta, and she
Fun.
is, gosh, that woman is amazing. She is incredible. I mean, Marion, come on, let's get Marion here.
Yeah. Yeah, Marian, hello.
Marion also, my dear
I'm
mentor.
gonna need you to be my mentor now. I have a very good recommendation.
I mean, if you go to the Taki also fellowship, all of us, like all of the Takis, all of our, like they are incredible,
That's so
incredible
cool.
conductors, and one that's not on the fellowship because he's a man, like Mike Rapper. He is adorable. He just won a Grammy. Great.
Oh, cool.
Great
What
conductor.
was, say the name again? Sorry, I think
Mike Rapper.
Mike Rapper. Okay.
Mike Rapper is great. Joseph Young, fantastic conductor as well. Oh my God, like so many. That's,
I love that we have a roll call at the end of this
yeah,
one.
no,
That's good.
seriously. Like I'm now like thinking and
Aw.
thinking, and I know I'm missing someone, but yeah,
Cool.
that's.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
course.
Coming and
Of
chatting
course,
with
I
you.
love
It's so
doing
good
that.
to see you
Good
and
to
learn
see
more
you.
about how all of this unfolded for you. And
That likewise. It's
Yeah,
so good to see. It's
so
so
good
nice
to
that
see.
to see that you're expanding your
Yeah,
creativity to
always.
other medias. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
my mom likes to tell me that I never sit still. So like it's either a problem or like a good thing. I haven't figured out yet.
If you were following along and counted up my questions, head over to TikTok at the Artist 10 Podcast and comment how many you think I got. I will not guarantee there'll be 10, but we will follow this week with a total. And if you're an artist, designer, or creative, please leave us a question in the same comment and we'll pick a few to read and answer on the show next time. Even the best things must come to an end, but don't worry, we'll be back and with more inspo, know-how, and creative collabs. In the meantime, tag along with us on Instagram at Hearthouse Creative or TikTok at the Artist 10 Podcast. Please click that follow button and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you feed your brain from. Thanks for listening. I'm Jenn Hart. Keep creating, Heartists. This episode of the Artist 10 podcast was recorded in the outdoor theater at Water Street Plaza. Big thanks to Alex and the staff there for sharing this space with us to get a peek at one of their places that Alex performs. The show was produced by Heart House Creative. Photos and video content were captured by one of our fave Vegas photogs, Shahab Zargari at Shahab Zargari on Instagram.